everyone, and welcome to another Sprues and Brews book review. My name's Andy, and today I'm going to be running you through one of the latest Age of Sigmar Battletomes, the Fyreslayers. So, obviously the artwork we've got on the front is very similar to the previous one. Still really cool, still shows off what the Fyreslayers are all about. If I flick the book over, we've got a nice little rundown of what the book includes. So we've got a detailed painting guide, path to glory, grand strategies, Warscrolls, all your updated match play rules. So let's jump straight into the Battletome. So we have a nice little intro page here, which just gives you again a brief rundown about the Fyreslayers and about their god Grimnir, and just a general flavour of what Fyreslayers are. Then we get a nice little contents page to show off everything that's in the book, all the different war scrolls, match play, path to glory, all the allegiance abilities, all that sort of stuff. And again, through all the Age of Sigmar Battletomes that we've come to know and love, you get a lot of miniature showcasing. So yeah, all really good stuff. So jumping into it, again, with all the Age of Sigmar Battletomes, you get a bit of narrative at the beginning. So again, this just runs you through who the Fyreslayers are, what they're all about, all the different types of Duardin that inhabit the mortal realms. Again, all really interesting and good read. Nice little artwork pages sprinkled throughout. Again, Fyreslayers killing some Tzeentch demons, good on the dwarfs. The Fall of Grimnir, again, for anyone who knows about the Fyreslayers, the god Grimnir died fighting Vulcatrix, the mother of all the Magma Droffs, and that is why they are after all the other gold. So again, that sort of narrative is explained throughout the Battletome. Again, you've got like the rise of the Fyreslayers. It basically just gives you a brief rundown of what they've been up to. The Magma Hold, again, you need to know where the Fyreslayers come from to know what they're about. So again, you get a lot of narrative based on that. The Cradle of Fire, again, just like a part of the Mortal Realms where the Fyreslayers are very active. The Anvils of the different lodges. So again, this is basically just a little timeline of all the Fyreslayers, what they've been doing, where they are now, all that sort of stuff. We get nice little honoured oaths, which again are, anyone who's known anything about or knows anything about the dwarves, they take their oaths very seriously. So you get a few cool little short stories just explaining some of the oaths that some of them have taken. Lodges, again, it just explains the organisation of the Fyreslayers and how they like to wage war. Then we get again a bit more of the Fyreslayers and about the gold and all that sort of stuff. Then we get a little bit of a rundown on the 4 big lodges. So we've got Vostog, Greyford, Hermdar, which I'll talk about a little bit more in a sec, because it's not the broken stuff that it was in the previous Battletome. Lofnir Lodge, which again is all about your Magma Droffs and stuff like that. So all really cool. And then we get a rundown of all the different units that are in your army. So we've got Rune Fathers, Rune Sons, Magma Droffs, their relationships with the Magma Droffs. We get a rundown on all the different types of priests. So we've got Rune Smiters and Rune Masters. We've got a little bit of a rundown on the new Uruk Flamekeeper, who is still not a priest. But yeah, you can see him in this little bit of artwork here, which is really nice. And then we get sort of the rest of the Magma Holds, the rest of the Fyreslayers. So we've got the Volkite Berserkers, your Uruk Hearthguard Berserkers, your Grimwrath, Doom Seekers, and your Battlesmiths. So that's pretty much the entire, all the units and stuff. And then we get, again, like most Battletomes, all of the Battletomes, we get a lovely little rundown of all the different miniatures, and we get a nice little showcase, again showing off, the heavy metal paint jobs that we've done, different types of units and stuff like that. Again, all really cool and nice. Yeah, there we go. You get the Battlesmith and the Grimwrath Berserker, showing off some of the new scenery pieces. We've got the Auric Flamekeeper down here again, like all super, really cool. So yeah, again we've got, you know, Vortex Berserkers fighting off some Gluttons. Got mixed emotions about that because I like both. Then we got a little showcase on all the different lodges. We've obviously got the 4 big ones, sort of at the beginning, and then we've obviously sprinkled it in a few more to show off, you know, what they wanted to do. Again, nice little miniature showcase fighting some undead. And then we get the painting guide. So that, like all the other battle tomes for Age of Sigmar, we get a really cool painting guide that runs you through how to paint Fyreslayers up to a really good standard as well. You know, we've got painting skin, painting the orange beard, painting gold, you know, all these sort of colours that are very traditional for Fyreslayers. We've got, again, painting magma drafts, you know, they're very heavy on their magma drafts, which was really cool to see, and it shows you different sort of effects you can go for. You can go for like sort of ash waste skin and stuff like this, and different types of basing for your Fyreslayers. And then we get into the match play stuff. We get into the allegiance abilities and stuff like that. So to run it through very briefly again, if you want to see this in greater detail, check out the rest of the article that this is going to be embedded in. So we've got a couple of new things. We've got lodges. So the lodges I'll explain in a little bit on a different page. We've got Fierce Counterattack. So this is a new allegiance ability for them, which basically allows you to give one of your units once per game the Always Strikes First special rule in your opponent's combat phase if they get charged. Again, you know, it explains it a bit more greater detail there. We've got the Grimwrath Oaths, which are specific for your Grimwrath Berserkers, which are very narratively driven. It's very cool. It adds a lot to that unit, which is great to see. You know, I like that narrative blend that blends into the match play rules. We've then got the Urgold Ruins, which is your main allegiance ability. There's only 6 now. I think there used to be 7, but like the Rune of Fury, the standard effect, add 1 to hit rolls. That's basically a built-in all-out attack for your entire army. But if you roll a 6 when you roll for it, so you roll a dice. On a 1 to 5 the normal effect applies, and on a 6 the enhanced effect applies. So for Rune of Fury, if you roll a 6, you get to add 1 to the attack's characteristic of melee weapons in addition to the +1 to hit. Again, super cool. And there's really good ones, like Relentless Zeal adds 2 to your movement characteristic, but if you roll the enhanced effect, it adds 2 to your charge rolls as well. Really cool. Blaze of Fury is a unique heroic action which one of your heroes can do once per game, very similar to our Finest Hour, and it basically allows a hero that you pick to benefit from both the standard effect and the enhanced effect, regardless of whether or not you roll that enhanced effect. So again, really cool. Nice that they've thrown in a unique heroic action for the Fyreslayers. And then we get into the enhancements. So we've got command traits. You've got 4 for the Runefather and Rune Sons. You've got 3 for Fyreslayer Priests. There's some really cool stuff in there. The Blood of a Berserker. Basically, after one of your characters, one of your Runefather or Rune Sons has attacked, you can declare that it's going to use the Blood of Berserker, and basically it can fight again, but with the Always Strikes Last special rule. Again, super cool. And then we got the artifacts. So again, these are divided into Runefather and Rune Son, priests, and then just generic heroes. They're pretty much all really good. We've got to pick out one of them for you. Master Rune of the Unbreakable Resolve. Once per battle at the start of a phase, you can say that a bearer will use a Master Rune. If you do so, they have a 3+ ward save until the end of that phase. So if you get charged by that Mega Boss or Maw Crusher, you can pop that and hopefully you're going to be a lot more survivable, and then you can counter charge. And that's kind of a general idea with that sort of artifact. Again, with the priest ones, we've got one that you can put on a Rune Smiter or Magma Drop, and it basically gives a buff to all Magma Drops near them, which is really cool. My personal favourite is the Drought of Magma Ale. So Fyreslayer. And basically, once per battle at the start of a combat phase, you pick a melee weapon by the bearer, and you do. Oh no, I apologise. You can say that the bearer will drink the Magma Ale. If you do so, double the attack characteristic of that bearer's melee weapons until the end of the phase. So again, on a Fyreslayer character, on a Magma Drop or something along those lines, super good because you're doubling all of your attacks. And again, there's some really cool combos. If you want to build a close combat monster, you can do. If you want to build a support character, you can do. Again, check out the article and I'll go through all of the artifacts in great deal, and you can see some of the synergies that are in there. Then we've got prayer scriptures. Again, you've got a lot of priests in the army, so you're going to have prayers. They're all pretty good. 2 of them are a little bit situational, but the other 2 are really, really good. So one of them, basically, you pick a Fyreslayer unit, and enemy units that attack that unit are at -1 to wound. Super, super good. There's another one which is specific to Hearthguard Berserkers or Volkite Berserkers, allows them to run and charge. And again, there's a lot of benefits to charging in this army, and there's a lot of bonuses to charges, so it's going to make that charging super important, super good. We've got mount traits. There's only 3, but they're all pretty good. Basically, you can use different types of monstrous actions and do more mortal wounds. Super cool. We've then got lodges. So like I said, the lodges have massively changed in this new book. So the Vostog is all around Volkite Berserkers, and basically gives them +1 to hit and +1 to wound when they charge, which is huge. We've got Hermdar. Hermdar's massively changed now. It used to be something along the lines of you can fight at the start of a hero combat phase sort of thing. Now it is basically you half the number of models that run away if they're near an objective or in the enemy territory. Not as good, but then it needed to be toned down. Lofnir is still all about Magma Drops. It gives them some extra wounds and allows you to take multiple mount traits. Again, you've only got 3, so there's not a huge amount of options, but again, they're all pretty good. And then the Greyford one gives all your characters that aren't on mounts extra wound and allows you to take some extra artifacts. So regardless of what type of Fyreslayer army you want to build, there is a lodge for that. Then we get to the Path to Glory. So the Path to Glory is basically built around 2 sort of things. You got mercenary contracts. So basically you, the idea is over a Path to Glory, you build up gold in your vault. And the best way for you to do that is to basically go out into the mortal realms and fight, so you can actually be hired to fight certain enemy armies. Depending on the result, you get a certain amount of gold. You can build up a reputation. So again, the more reputation you have, the more bonus gold you get. You can take contracts and basically fight against specific factions. You can build up a quarry, so you can actually, if you lose a couple of games against your friend who's running Disciples of Zinch, for example, you can build up a quarry specifically against them, which gives you some bonuses whenever you fight against armies of the same Grand Alliance as your quarry, which is super cool. Again, we've got some unique quests. Slay bitter enemies. At the end of a Path to Glory battle, you complete this quest if you won a major victory and your opponent army was a Skaven or Gloomspite Gear army. So again, a little bit specific, that one, but the others a bit more sort of bit more generic. We've got veteran abilities, which again, super cool. We've got territories, and again, this replaces that 61 to 66 on the territory chart in the core rulebook. You can upgrade your heroes as the path to glory goes on, and again, you can upgrade like rune fathers to have room to be rune fathers on Magma Dross, and that sort of stuff. There's a couple of unique battle plans. So reclaiming a hold, where basically your Fyreslayers are trying to root out an enemy army that has taken over a Magma Hold. You get a Magma Hold roster. So this is for keeping track of basically the amount of gold and stuff in your Magma Hold. So you get the name, the Runefather name, your favourite Rune Son, the Paymaster Quarry, reputation modifier, so when you get bonus gold at the end of the game, that sort of stuff. And then we get like a Grand Third with the Warscroll battalions and stuff. Again, just something to aim for when you're doing Path to Glory. And then we get the match play stuff. So we got the grand strategies. I don't know what it is about grand strategies. I'm not a huge fan of these. These ones don't seem to be great. They're okay, but I think the generic ones in the core book are better. I'll pick one out. The Defend the Lodge. When the battle ends, you complete this grand strategy if there are no enemy units wholly within your territory. That's quite difficult to do. When you consider you can just keep a battle line unit alive, that's a lot easier. That's a lot better. Battle tactics, again, we've got unique battle tactics specifically for Fyreslayers. So these are a bit better. So we've got pick an enemy monster and one friendly hero. You complete this tactic if that monster is slain by wounds caused by attacks made by that hero during this turn. Again, if you're playing Iron Jaws and you've got a Mega Boss and Maw Crusher, you can charge that Runefather in, Magma Dross in, and try and go for the kill. Again, super good. The battle tactics I feel a lot better than grand strategies. And then we get into the Warscrolls. So I'm not going to go through everything, just because there's a lot. The Runefather and Magma Dross, Rune Son and Magma Dross, and the Rune Smiter and Magma Dross have all received a little bit of bonuses, they're a little bit buffed up, and that's basically the Magma Dross themselves. So they start off with 16 wounds. If you put them in a Lofnir Lodge, they get an extra 2 wounds, so they're up to 18 wounds. With the Roaring Fire Stream, it's basically pick an enemy unit and the attack's characteristic is equal to the number of models in that unit up to a maximum of 10, which is super cool. But if you don't shoot, you can actually build up that magma, and then when you do shoot in the next turn, you have more rend. Again, super cool. And yeah, the Rune Son, it got a little bit stronger. Like his Ancestral War Axe is now damage 2 with rend. So again, little things along those lines just add a bit more to this. Rune Smiter, again, pretty much the same as he was. He's still got runic empowerment. A little bit of a change. Now you can either have a runic iron or a forge key, and one of them gives you a reroll chanting roll, while the other increases the range of your chants. So again, depending on which one you want to go for, you're probably going to go for that reroll. We've got the Warhammer Underworlds Warband for Fjord, Grimnir, and the Chosen Axes. They're pretty cool. Basically just a Runefather and some Volkite Berserkers. And then we've got the rest of the characters. So the Runefather on foot and the Rune Son on foot. The interesting thing about these guys is they now get a retinue. So we can pick a unit of Auric Hearthguard Berserkers, or Hearthguard Berserkers I should say, and basically if they're near that unit, they can basically use the bodyguard rule and pass off wounds to that unit. Again, super cool if you're running these guys on foot. You got a Rune Master, who again is a priest. You got a Rune Smiter, who's a priest, who has the same runic empowerment as the Rune Smiter and Magma Dross, and basically gives one of your units +1 to wound rolls. Again, super useful in this army. We've got the Uric Flamekeeper, who is still not a priest. He is a totem though, which is pretty cool. But yeah, he's basically exactly the same as the Fury of the Deep. You got the Battlesmith. Battlesmith's pretty good. You can give units wholly within 12 inches a 6+ ward save, and then once per game you can buff that up to a 5 at ward save. And then the big thing about him is when he issues the rally command, you can return one slain model that receives a command for each 4+ rather than 6. Again, super cool. There's an artifact that you can give him which allows Fyreslayer units near him to ignore spells and endless spells on a 4-up. Again, super good. He's a bit of a buff piece. He is a little bit pricey compared to other heroes, but he is really useful. You got the Grimwrath Berserker and the Doomseeker, who are both exactly the same as they were previously with the update in the Broken Realms books. Grimwrath Berserker is a little bit more pricey than the Doomseeker, but I feel like the Grimwrath Berserker is a lot better. He's got 4 attacks with -2 rend and 2 damage, and basically on a 2-up he can attack again, or if he doesn't do that and he dies, he can attack when he dies. So again, super good. And if you throw on the artifact that doubles your attacks, again you get a lot out of him. He's a hero, but he's not a leader, so you can take loads of them. And then we get into the sort of generic units. Again, they haven't increased the number of generic units in your army, but they have buffed the units that are there. So the Uric Hearthguard are now basically slightly better in combat, which, you know, is not where you really want them for shooting. But they do have 18 inches, 2 shots, 4s and 3s -1, 1 damage, and if the unmodified hit roll from a shooting attack made with Magma Pike is a 6, subtract 1 from target unit's move until the end of the next turn. This ability cannot reduce the target's move below half. So you can slow down your opponent. It's not bad, you know, they're not terrible. Hearthguard Berserkers, they now get they still get the 4+ ward save if they're wholly within 9 inches of a Fyreslayer hero, and if you have Smouldering Braziers from the Flame Strike Pole Axe, any 6 to hit causes 2 mortal wounds in addition to the normal damage. So you can either go for Broad Axes and have damage 2 and rend, or you can go for the Flame Strike Pole Axe and just go for more attacks that potentially do more wounds. Both options are pretty good. And then Volkite Berserkers, they've split them into 2 different Warscrolls now. So you got Volkite Berserkers with Fyreslayers axes. They're 2 attacks, 3s and 3s, no rend, 1 damage, but on the turn in which they charge, they get extra attack. And again, you throw them in the Vostok Lodge, that's 3 attacks, 2s and 2s. So, you know, that's pretty good. And with one of the Urgold ruins, you can actually give them rend as well, which again is super good. So these are your sort of throw them into those 5, 6+ armor saved units, and they will just go through them like nothing. The Volkite Berserkers with bladed sling shields, they've got a 4+ save, which is pretty cool. They've still got the whole throw their shields when they charge into combat and stuff like that. But I feel like these guys are your anvil, and these guys are your hammer against the right units. But I feel like the Hearthguard Berserkers are better against more all-round units than the Volkites are. But the Volkites with shields are very interesting in the sense that you can put them on an objective and they are going to sit there. They are not going to move. 2 wins with a 4-up save, you know, you can throw out all-out defense. You can take Stormcast and Cities as allies, so you can always throw a wizard into Mystic Shield. These guys are going to be super tanky, and they're going to sit there. And now you can give them a hand axe or a war pick. It used to just be a war pick. Both only 1 attack. Again, they're not your fighting unit. The hand axe is 1 attack, 3s and 3s, no rend, 1 damage. And the war pick is 1 attack, 3s and 4s, -1, 1 damage. Well, again, there's a lot of synergies in the book to get that 4 to wound down to a 3-up. Then we've got the Invocations and the scenery piece. The Invocations haven't really changed. The Morton Inferno is basically like a Ravenix Gnashing Jaws. you summon it, you move it, and then it does D3 mortal wounds to everything that's nearby. The Runic Firewall still blocks line of sight, but also gives a ward save to nearby units as well now, which is pretty good. And then you've got the Zargon Flame Spitter, which is basically just a long range shooting attack. The Magnet Battleforge, again, basically does the same thing that it used to do. You can add one to the chanting rolls of Fyreslayer Priest while within 18 inches, and then once per game you can basically expend it if there's a priest nearby, and all Fyreslayers on the battlefield get a 6+ ward save, but then you lose that ability to get +1 to chanting rolls. Either way, you know, it's free, doesn't cost you any points, and it's a really cool model. And then we've got the points. So the points on stuff hasn't hugely changed. The Rune Father, Rune Smiter, and Rune Son and Magma Drop, they've gone up a little bit in points because they've got quite a big buff. The Hearthguard Berserkers have gone up to 160. You can now take Rune Sons and Magma Drop as battle line in a Lofnir army, which is all about those Magma Drops. So if you want, you can do a full army of Magma Drops now, all of which is pretty cool. And yeah, that is the Battletome. So my closing thoughts: the Battletome is going to be pretty strong. It's going to be good. I think it's probably on par with Maggotkin. There's nothing in this Battletome that really jumps out at me and screams it's broken or, you know, not fun to play with or anything like that. I think you're going to play against Fyreslayer armies and you're going to enjoy that game. It's going to be a game. So again, kudos for Games Workshop for smashing it out of the park, and I cannot wait to get these Fyreslayers on the table. Thanks for watching.